Hello, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to share this one with you because we're going to look right past the shiny three-dimensional surface of modern middle-class wealth to uncover a hidden reality that, honestly, so many people are quietly living through right now. We're going to explore a fascinating and totally eye-opening case study about a family who looked like they had it all, but were actually walking a terrifying financial tightrope. Let's get right into it. Picture this. Every single morning at 5:30 a.m., a guy named Mark wakes up before the rest of his family. Before he even thinks about brewing coffee, before he puts on his work tie, he opens the banking app on his phone. And what he sees there, this one heavy number, dictates exactly how the rest of his entire day is going to feel. $412.17. Okay, let's dive into this. 5 days until payday. That incredibly tight timeline, combined with just over $400 in the bank, creates an immediate, suffocating crisis. Think about the stress of that. Every gallon of gas, every carton of milk, every minor unexpected cost over those next 5 days becomes a potential catastrophe. Section 1. The illusion of comfort. So you might be wondering, how did they even get here? Because on paper, this family should not have been struggling at all. Mark actually earned a really good salary. His wife, Sarah, worked full-time at a medical clinic. From the outside world's perspective, they were totally set. They had the suburban home, the hybrid SUV, and their kids never went without school supplies. But the inside reality? Completely different. Behind their front door, they were living in a constant state of spreadsheet panic with maxed-out credit cards. One Tuesday night, Mark finally sat down with his budget spreadsheet, and the numbers simply refused to work. Their baseline static costs, things like their mortgage, stayed exactly the same, but everything else was quietly climbing. Grocery bills, insurance premiums, utilities, even the smaller things like every streaming service, their phone plans, all those little monthly subscriptions, they were all quietly creeping up. The math just didn't add up anymore. After paying for basic housing, groceries, transportation, utilities, insurance, and just the minimum payments on their debt, this is what remained. Zero. Absolutely nothing. They had no safety net whatsoever. They were stripped down to the bone, entirely exposed to the unpredictable nature of life. Section 2. The breaking point. When your margins shrink to zero, you are forced to do whatever it takes just to survive. Mark and Sarah had to take on these hidden second lives to keep the family afloat. By day one, Mark started driving for a food delivery app every evening. Just imagine him, still wearing his office clothes, sitting in random parking lots, waiting for delivery requests, getting home close to midnight. By day 15, Sarah was quietly selling furniture, old bicycles, and unused electronics online just to buy another week's worth of groceries. And then, on day 30, disaster finally hit. The check engine light came on in their SUV. The repair estimate was $1,200. For a family with zero savings and credit cards already pushed to their absolute limits, this wasn't just a minor inconvenience. It was an impossible hurdle. It was the financial brick wall they had been dreading. When they got that estimate, neither Mark nor Sarah spoke for several minutes. The silence was louder than any argument. It was just this heavy, suffocating realization that one unexpected repair was about to destroy the entire illusion they had worked so hard to maintain. Section 3. Making the hard choices. And this brilliantly illustrates what they did next. That very night, instead of doing what so many of us might do, instead of scrambling to find another credit card or borrowing more money to keep the facade going, they made the hardest decision of their lives. They made radical cuts to stop the bleeding. They returned that leased SUV, swallowed the penalty, and bought an old used sedan with cash. They canceled every single subscription. Restaurant meals disappeared. Vacations gone. Impulse shopping entirely halted. They systematically eliminated the illusion of luxury. Section 4. Steps to reduce expenses. What Mark and Sarah did here isn't just a compelling story, it's a concrete, actionable blueprint for budgeting that anyone feeling the squeeze of inflation can use. If you want serious monthly expense reduction, follow these steps. Step 1. Face the spreadsheet. Write it all down and look at the brutal math. Step 2. Slash major debt vehicles. For them, that meant ditching a car lease they couldn't afford. Step 3, execute a total subscription purge. And step 4, which is huge, restructure your food sourcing. Mark and Sarah actively joined a local food cooperative and started buying their groceries in bulk to drastically drop their food costs. And by doing all this, by volunteering on weekends at the co-op and stripping away the expensive, stressful layers of their previous lifestyle, they found something entirely unexpected. Life just became simpler. They found real relief from the crushing pressure of trying to maintain an image. Section 5. The real financial victory.
Let's look at the aftermath just 3 months after they committed to these drastic expense reductions. The transformation is wild. Before, Mark was waking up to a terrifying $412, suffocating under bills. Just 3 months later, their bank account showed $2,500. Now, $2,500 isn't massive wealth. It's definitely not luxury. But for the very first time in years, they were breathing. They were finally becoming financially stable.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer irony of their situation. Their neighbors, seeing the old clunker car, noticing the canceled vacations, and the much simpler lifestyle, perceived them as completely struggling. They were probably pitying them. But the reality was the exact opposite. Because they'd finally plugged the drains on their income, they were 100% building true stability.
Their neighbors were totally unaware that Mark and Sarah were finally secure. And that brings us to the core takeaway from their whole journey. Sometimes the greatest financial victory isn't earning more money. Sometimes it's escaping the illusion that was quietly draining every dollar you earned. The most powerful thing you can do is stop trying to look rich to the outside world. So, I want to leave you with this question to really chew on today. Look closely at your own 3D reality. Are you paying for an illusion, or are you building true stability? It might just be time to face the numbers, make those hard choices, and finally give yourself some room to breathe. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this empowers you to take control of your budget today.